Good day, students. I'm Dr. Godwin A. Alhassan of the Department of Crop and Soil Sciences, National Open University of Nigeria. Our topic today is ion exchange phenomenon. The soil is a consequence of so many solutes that are in constant contact with the various soil minerals, and as a result, solutions are produced, the liquid phase of the soil. And this liquid phase arising from the various minerals that have been dissolved in them has given to terms like salinity, alkalinity, cation exchange capacity, and ion exchange capacity. These terms are always, they have a lot of influence on plant growth and development. What happens to our crops as a result of the various conditions of the soil solution that have been influenced mainly by the environment and the pH of the soil. These and others will be explained as we pass through this slide on this topic, ion exchange phenomenon. I am once again your facilitator for this course, Godwin A. Alhassan. Relax and enjoy it, and feel free to ask questions. Thank you very much. As I earlier told you, our topic today is on ion exchange phenomenon. As you can see in this picture, a farmer that is already frustrated arising from planting of his maize on a soil that is not of the best quality, a saline soil. By way of introduction, after photosynthesis and respiration, another process that is of enormous importance to our plants and animals is the exchange of ions between soil particles and plant roots. They occur on surfaces of finer or colloidal fractions of both the organic and the inorganic and organic matter, that the clay and the humus. The silicate minerals make up the largest and the most important source of exchange sites in soil. Clay minerals and colloidal materials hold cations. They serve as storehouse for many nutrients required for plant growth. The soil system provides a buffer system that tends to maintain the nutrients in correct proportion required by plants. Soil colloids have an unneutralized negative charges. Positively charged ions, cations are absorbed at these negatively charged sites by electrostatic attraction. The absorbed cations resist removal by leaching water, but can be replaced by other cations in solution by Marx action. The exchange of one positive ion by another is called cation exchange. So the proportion of these nutrients are constantly changing. Ions are added from dissolving minerals, that is through weathering, by addition of lime, gypsum, or fertilizers. Losses occur by plant roots absorption and leaching. Cations are absorbed on the colloidal particles and they are called exchangeable cations. They can be replaced or exchanged by other cations from the soil solution surrounding the particle. Liming of acid soil results in calcium plus ion replacing hydroxy and aluminum ion on the exchange complex. So these soils have excessively high sodium on the exchange complex. Addition of gypsum results in calcium plus 2 replacing sodium of the exchange sites. Our main objectives are for this topic are as follows. We are going to state the meaning and definitions of cation exchange capacity, CEC, anion exchange capacity, AEC, base saturation, and liming. So I can see in this picture, we have what we call the leaching of the soil, where you have to add good water that will penetrate to the soil and to wash down the poisonous or the hazardous minerals that have been dissolved in the soil, like calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate, sodium, and others. They will be washed down through the system, away from the root. Cation exchange capacity is the amount of exchangeable cations that soil can absorb, such as potassium and sulfate. Cation exchange capacity refers to the ability of the growing medium to hold exchangeable mineral elements within its structure. These cations include ammonium, hydrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, manganese, zinc, and copper. Pet mouse and mixes contain bark, soil, sawdust, and other organic minerals also have some level of cation exchange capacity. Anion exchange capacity. This is the amount of exchangeable anions that soil can absorb. Colloids having appreciable ion exchange are those having low CEC. They are colloids of hydroxy, sulfate, and potassium can also be exchanged. The highest anion exchange capacity occur in amorphous clays and aluminum oxide clays. The amount of anion exchange capacity is generally low, usually a few tenths of a mega per 100 gram of soil. Positive charges occur at the edges of the clay minerals. Continuation of the anion exchange capacity. This type is pH dependent, known to be responsible for anion exchange. Anions can react with oxides or hydroxides, forming inner sphere complexes. This is a pictorial view of the root hairs and then the clay particles. The minerals are within these clay particles and are being attracted to the root hairs. And so the soil solution provides this movement of minerals from the clay portion solution to the root hairs. Base saturation. This expresses the percentage of cation exchange capacity composed of basic cations. It is mathematically expressed as percentage base cation. And the unit is cmol per kg. Flocculation. Flocculation is the process of aggregation of clay particles into microscopic kimes or floccles. Flocculation can be explained by the fact that clay has negative charges that attract positive ions from the soil solution. If two clay platelets come close enough to each other, the cations compressed in the layer between them will attract the negative charges on both platelets, thus serving bridges to hold the platelets together. Examples are calcium plus 2, iron plus 2, aluminum plus 3, and humus. Dispersion. This is the direct opposite of flocculation. And when you consider sodium, calcium, aluminum in their oxidation stage, they are good examples and can be absorbed as ions. The clay platelets cannot approach closely enough to flocculate, so remain dispersed. And so this is the pictorial view of flocculated ions and the dispersed ones. The flocculated one, they come together and then they form platelets and then they remain in that form. But the dispersed ones will not come together and they remain in the dispersed form. Effects of flocculation and dispersion on plant growth. Stable aggregates can be formed only on soil containing clay that will flocculate. If it remains dispersed, the soil is puddle. Puddle soils are sticky when wet and hard when dry. Root growth and soil aeration require a porous condition in soil. A flocculating concentration of electrolytes should be maintained in the soil. To reach such a condition, the soil should be limed. Calcium and magnesium are known to have high flocculation powers on the negative clay particles, and that will reduce the toxic effect of high aluminum concentrations. Buffering capacity of cells. A buffer solution is defined as that which resists a change in pH on addition of either acid or alkaline. Buffer solutions contain compounds that react with both acid and base so that the hydrogen ion concentration in the solution remain constant. Clay and humid fractions act as a buffer solution. Buffering capacity is greater in clay soil than in sandy soils. Soil alkalinity. The degree or intensity of alkalinity in a soil is what we refer to as soil alkalinity. It is expressed by a value greater than 7 pH of 7 for soil. A soil is described as alkaline if it has a pH of 8.5 or higher, or with an exchangeable sodium percentage greater than 0.15. It contains sufficient sodium to interfere with the growth of most crops. Alkaline soils. These contain high exchangeable sodium. If sodium is more than 15% of ions retained on the clay complex, the soil is then considered to be alkaline soil or sodic soil. Such soils are very hard and cloudy when dry. In these soils, water intake is severely restricted. The soil pH is often above 9. Sometimes plant imbalance occurs. The problem is solved by adding gypsum or calcium chloride, which is faster but expensive. And these are the two pictures of alkaline soil and cracked surfaces of soil. There's no amount of treatment you give to this type of soil that can reclaim it because the water, no matter how much you pour water to leach, it is not work well. And so you can see a marshy area covered with alkaline solutions, and then you have the cracked one when they get dried. Saline soils. These soils have excessive amount of water-soluble salts that adversely affect seed germination and plant growth. The soils are usually white in color, chemically neutral, and they include chlorine, sulfate, and sometimes nitrate of calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. No chemical amendment, conditioners, or fertilizers will ameliorate these conditions. The only remedy is leaching the soils beyond the root zone of the crop. Stony soil, a non-saline soil that contains so high a level of exchangeable sodium adversely affects crop production. Soil texture adversely affects crop production. Soil structure under most conditions of soil and plant type. The exchangeable sodium percentage is at least 15. Soil alkaline solution. These contain high amount of soluble salts as well as more than 50% sodium. It has the characteristics of saline alkaline soil. The problem is solved by leaching the soil with good quality water and then addition of gypsum or calcium chloride. Some causes of soil salinity. Natural causes due to salty groundwater and poor soil drainage. Man-made causes include usage of salty irrigation water, poor management of the soil. This is the end of our lecture for today. I want to thank you for listening, and I look forward to see you next week, same time. I remain yours again, Dr. Godwin Alhassan of the Department of Crop and Soil Sciences, National Open University of Nigeria. God bless.